Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to our discussion of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Just premiered on Tuesday, so we've had a couple of days to sort of let it sink in, give a little thoughts here. So I've got some awesome people to talk to about this. Joining me, as he often does from Smirking Gun Reviews, it's Rob.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. Yes, we're not on my channel for a change. We're on Darrin's channel. So like and subscribe over there. And like and subscribe to our other pal, Don Willi from New York City.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you, of course, Darrin, and also Rob. Glad to be here talking about Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Live from New York City!
No, it is only appropriate. It is only appropriate we have a true New York representative here, that can adjust the rest of our views to how really life in that city is.
What's cool is we do have, like, you've got you in LA, me in the Chicago area, and Don in New York, man. We're representing, like...
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's why I was so stoked that we were able to get Don in to talk about this. No, really, it's been a while. It feels like old times here, and I can't wait to kind of dive into it. So, yeah, Daredevil Season 2. We had a little bit of a wait. Just off the bat, how did you guys feel about this? Don, let's get things kicking out. How did you like the premiere of Season 2? How'd this episode work for you?
So, I just watched it for a second time right before we came on here, and I was like, wow, you know what? Great start to the season. Amazing start to the episode, right? Because, and I'm sure we're gonna, break it down some more, but like, it had so many callbacks, not just to Daredevil, but to other MCU properties as well. And the thing that I really liked about the episode is that looking at it, right, it's like, that it takes place in the same realm as a Captain America, as a Spider-Man, but it still feels so much like its own thing. And that's part of the thing that I absolutely love about it, is that even though that they're in the same cinematic universe, Daredevil is not riding on anyone else's coattails, and so that is also a thing that I loved about this.
Nice. Rob, what about you? I know we've had a lot of discussions about Season 1. So how did this episode kick off for you from your expectations? Let's say
This is a good, solid episode. It's bookended really well. There's even some things in there that, even though I wish were gone, the possibilities of what they can do with some of those things that I wish weren't in this are still could go in some pretty interesting directions. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about it as we go along. There's just a couple of things as I was watching this episode that made me go, okay, but most of it was just pretty solid start. This is our 5th season of Daredevil. You know what I mean? You got to remember, not like the first 3, the classics, the comeback all these years later. I keep thinking, like, how should this one start? And I think it started like a show in its 5th season would feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty. Okay. It was pretty good, and it moved, and there's a lot of moving parts, and yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't know what to expect. I'd rewatched Season 1 or a bunch of Season 1 before coming into this, and that really, to me, it was almost a little over the top. I know it had a rocky whole little story, and then Moorhead and Benson had to come in, and they kind of book in those episodes and change the arc of it. they had to work most of the material that they had, and I think they had a particular viewpoint that to me was a little almost too much at times. It was very heavy on symbolism and moments and things like that. So I was very curious now that it was fully in their hands and they had the experience of that first season, how this was going to lay out. And I gotta say, they really course corrected, I think, in the best kind of ways, because you're totally right, Rob. This moved. It was a good, solid episode, good enough that my wife, who didn't really care to watch it because she's kind of a little pissed off about Disney and all of their shenanigans and just kind of corporate world in general, actually was like, wow, I have nothing bad to say about that. Which was honestly quite a compliment. I think it was very effective. I think its pacing was really good. It moved from scene to scene. It was like this situation, then this character and what they're doing, and then we bring this character in and show how that connects to this, which is connecting to this person. It was very deliberate. I don't think anything was wasted. The dialogue was good. I mean, I think what they did is it feels like they grounded it back down again. And to me, I think that was something that the first season almost was a little too much at times. It was really like superhero, which was always the difference of what Daredevil was, is so much of a more grounded, realistic, human problem kind of show. So yeah, I'm kind of curious how you guys thought and compared to season 1 that this worked. Rob, you look like you're itching to talk.
All right. Well, we talked about this, right? We were gonna we talked about this the other day with each other.
Yeah.
And I sounded like I wasn't even gonna bother with a rewatch. But you were like talking about how you were about to, and then I text you. Well, I'm rewatching it, except I did what I like to call not the Phantom Menace, the Attack of the Clones edit, which is when they released Attack of the Clones in IMAX, they got rid of all the Anakin and Padme scenes. And it didn't make the movie perfect by any means, but it made it a lot more entertaining and watchable for me. Sure. I was like, yes, get rid of some of this stuff that don't really need to be here. And I just skipped every scene that his new girlfriend was in. It didn't matter what she was doing or who she was talking to. I could see what it was. I was like, oh, that's that scene. Okay. Do I really need to see that again? No. And I enjoyed it more. But I also could see better at what they were trying to do by the end of the season, which was this first season really... I still don't like that that they decided to go with Daredevil's broken. We're not going to have him in it, really. It's just going to be a big character piece on Matt and Wilson Fisk for the most part. And then, but we had to get there so that both characters by the end of the season are back to being who they are, or at least Matt's letting himself be Daredevil, and Kingpin's going, I was always the Kingpin. It was a big ruse. Ha 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 ha. But that's what they needed to do in that story, so that now we can have the big, ramp everything up in the second half. So that I get what they were trying to do. I still wouldn't have done it, because here's the thing. We already got, in the first 3 seasons, they could have just ended it there. It's all of Daredevil basically in 3 seasons. Daredevil's not that complicated as far as plots go. He's always fighting the Kingpin, and you throw in the Hand and Elektra and the Punisher, maybe a splash of Spider-Man in there, maybe some the Owl or whatever, more street criminal stuff. That's what we got in the first 3 seasons. The first season ended with Kingpin getting beat up and put in jail, and it ends with Kingpin getting beat up and put in jail. And the second season, we got to have the Punisher and Elektra and the Hand. It gave us everything that basically covers Daredevil's whole suffering Gambit.
Yes, but like Oliver, we wanted more.
Yes. So when they come back, though, my thing is like, why did we have to have it where he's like, it's like the Dark Knight Rises, where it's like, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore because of this. It was powerful and effective, just personally not what I wanted. But it's still, I can't say that it wasn't pretty good despite some of my own personal gripes on certain things, like how they handled Muse, how, again, his girlfriend character that's in here for what reason.
Yeah,
we talked about that. We
touched
talked
on
about
Heather.
that.
We'll touch on Heather for sure. Yeah, Don, what about you? How did you what did you think of the first season? And how did this work for either expectations, fixing things, building on things? What was your take?
So the first season versus the second season, the first season, you can definitely tell that, they were teetering on, well, how do we make it feel like the Netflix version, but still make it feel like it belongs on Disney Plus and within the MCU that we've set up, which is how you get Kamala Khan's dad in there, and some of the kind of sight gag things that they did, right? But then, there's the other part of it where it's like, well, no, we're trying to prove that, the MCU isn't all bubble gum and hey, look, here's our opportunity to ramp it up a bit, because you know what? If we can do Deadpool and Wolverine, then hey, we can show people that we can compete with Netflix when it comes to even having violence on Disney Plus in some of our original content, which is how you get, the more brutal Murdock and and the amount of F words that are thrown around in there, which Netflix never had. If you go back to the original Netflix, the whole Defenders, all of their series, you do not get the F word. Most you get is a freak or freaking. Never the FU, and we know the rest that comes after that.
Right.
But this season, so far, I think continues the end of last season, where they kind of course corrected and leveled off a bit, and like the end of last season, it's starting to feel kind of true to form to the original Netflix run. So, the last couple episodes of season 1, definitely gave me more Netflix vibes than earlier in the season, and this so far to me continues that.
Excellent. Yeah. So yeah. Well, let's dive into some of the big changes that we've got going, both character-wise and plot-wise. But we would be remiss without acknowledging the new suit, which I think is awesome. I think it's the best looking suit just from a form-fitting standpoint. It's nice that, of course, he's like, the Shadow Daredevil, so it's black with the red lettering and so on. So anyway, just to go off, any thoughts on our new outfits for our heroes here? Whoever wants to jump in.
Well, so I don't know if you guys got this sense, but especially when I rewatched it the second time, the suit to me, awesome, absolutely awesome. Straight out of the comic books, some of the more recent years. But the other thing about it, for some reason, it also gave me the vibe of Trial of the Incredible Hulk, the first ever live action Daredevil appearance.
I remember he was in the black suit in that one, yeah.
And for some reason, this reminded me of that. Like, especially when he's on the Northern Star.
Mm-hmm.
The part where he's like when the ship starts to capsize. So spoilers, all right, and you guys shouldn't be watching this
for all of that. That should we should say that ahead of time. Yeah, but definitely go ahead.
Yeah, but the part where he's hanging and the water starts to rise, yeah, I was like, wow, this so much reminds me of Trial of the Incredible Hulk. Like I don't know exactly what made that connection for me, but something about it just, reminded me of that, but just 100 times better because where it's being shown now.
Yeah, they didn't have sinking ship budgets in those days there. Usually.
So, I absolutely love the new uniform.
Excellent. Rob, anything?
Oh, it was really dope. I haven't seen that book in a few years, or that suit in a few years. Not since they did The Man Without Fear a few years back. And then it hasn't been used since. Wow, but it makes sense. I mean, he's Matt Murdock and Daredevil are both supposed to be gone, and he's got to be in the shadows even more. And I think that perfectly works. Like to have it like that, and when you see it up close, the red pops out. It actually kind of looks red when they look at it through that one lens. Like the night vision almost. It almost looks like it's normal, but I really dug it, and I really thought that especially in that first and end scene, we got to see him use I felt like he was using his stuff more in this first episode. It felt way more like, I don't know, and they definitely are amping up the violence a little bit more. He's definitely when he's hitting, there's a different edge to it that Charlie's doing, and I dig it a lot.
Nice. All right, so we're talking about the ship scene, of course, there, which was very incredible, and that's kind of kicks off our whole, I guess, season mystery, and definitely brings in, I think, one of the best new characters coming in. What did you guys think of Matthew Lillard as Mr. Charles? I gotta say, I freaking loved every moment of it. I loved every bit of him on the screen. His whole character, everything he brought, was just, I don't know. Also, it's Shaggy, and he's doing some cool evil CIA stuff. But this is definitely giving certainly Fisk a whole level of I don't know, influence protection, as we kind of saw instantly as Mr. Charles was introduced. But Don, what did you think of our new character this season?
Absolutely love him. Matthew Lillard is such an underrated actor, and I've always loved how expressive he is. So even in the quiet moments where he's not really doing much, there is so much that is going on here that draws you in. So when he's just being the absolutely most despicable person in the room, you just are absolutely captivated by him. So I want to see how much power and influence does Mr. Charles actually have. Because we know who he's working for, right? And even though we don't see her around, the fact that this man steps in the room and then she calls you to tell you you're going to back down from overseeing the mayor of New York. Yeah. And he doesn't give anything away about himself either. Just oh, where are you from? Langley?
Honestly, that he said that much kind of surprised me.
I think that the whole point is like, I'm going to give you this one word. You will know exactly what that means. I don't have anything else.
Well,
You know,
I mean, yeah, that is the kind of cool thing is we definitely have these different levels of power that are all intermixing here, and who has this level of power and this and steps up and different. Anyway, Rob, what were your thoughts on Mr. Charles?
I immediately looked to see if he was a comic book character, and he's not. But yeah, I like Matthew Lillard. You know, I think because early in his career he was doing a lot of kind of broad, silly characters, a lot of teen stuff, that people kind of like dismissed him as a good actor. But I saw him in shows like The Bridge on FX, where he got to show like his dramatic acting chops while still having that sense of humor, that sarcasm, that smirkiness that I clearly like. And I liked that, you know, he's in the room, and he reminded me of people in power today who are in rooms that aren't elected officials, who are able to dictate policy, and put someone like the Kingpin, who is just sitting there because he's not the one he's not the one that's running that room. And he's quiet for the first time in those scenes. Wilson Fisk keeps his mouth shut, even at the dinner scene. And when he says what he's done, like, you did offend, he still doesn't push it. They know that if something happens to this guy, it's going to bring the hammer down even more. I did enjoy that LaFontaine was mentioned, showing that bigger connection. I was kind of hoping that they were going to throw in Chip Zdarsky's billionaire twins, the Sturms, who really put Kingpin in his place in the Chip Zdarsky run, where they really rein in the mayor for a while, and maybe that's still something that they are planning to do. I don't know.
They got room and time.
Or maybe just an equivalent to that, because, you know, LaFontaine may be on the phone telling somebody, you know, in the governor's office what to do. That doesn't mean that Mr. Charles necessarily works for her either. It could be, it's a global thing, right? Those guns aren't, everything that's coming through there isn't just from her. They are now allowing anybody, and, you know, who knows who's been putting, you know, running things through that port. But he just brought it with such a casual ease, and he, you know, he wasn't intimidating. He was just matter of fact. And when he says no, when he's like, "Oh, I've got this," and he's just like, "No," that's all he had to say. There was no sternness. There was no ultimatum. And that still got through to Wilson Fisk. When this guy says it, that means it goes. Will that stand? Will Wilson Fisk be able to keep his ego in check for the whole season while this goes on? You know, because, you know, they're planning on going into, you know, they want to go in after the stuff that's in the river. But we already know that Matt put a watch in one of the cases so that he can hear it when he goes underwater. So we know that that's going to get crazy too. So Mr. Charles is just going to be there as he's a wild card.
Yeah.
And we have, like, this actually throws everything out the window as far as like predictability to me. And I like that a lot.
Yeah, and I have to agree. I think his understatedness is really what made this character so intimidating. In the handful of acting classes that I have taken, no, I did not do well. One of the things that's brought up, especially in voice work, is the scene from Glengarry Glen Ross with Baldwin in there, which was a scene that was actually written for the movie. I don't think it was in the original play, if I remember right. But one of the great things about this that is brought up is the power when he uses his quiet voice. You know, there's some yelling, but there's so much when he's in and he's talking just like this. And so much that you've got to almost lean forward to listen and to pull you in and do it. Then that's that switch up of tone is so great. And I think that's something that Matthew does in this so really well is, he's very matter of fact, and he can just look and be like, all right, we'll switch to another direction. Because you're asking how long he can hold this up. I think the interesting power that I feel at the moment that Mr. Charles really has is the fact that he knows that he himself is expendable. Because he deals with all that. He knows it's like, there'll probably be a point. It's like, well, you can take it out on me, but you know what's going to happen to you after that, right? And I think that's sort of the change of power, is everybody else is so protective of themselves, and he knows that he is just power because of his representation. Like you said, you just have to say Langley, and everybody knows what that means. So
Well, there's also that moment where he tells him, are you going to be good with killing these guys? Your guys.
Oh,
right.
Oh,
and that shows
that
but that shows a level of Kingpin that there's still a tiny bit of like humanity in Kingpin, of like the loyalty. Maybe it's all self-serving in a lot of ways, but like he still has pause, and he realizes these people don't have that. They don't have that at all. I've killed a lot of people, and I've done it for, like less, like for insults and things like that. But there's still that like line I feel like that he kind of has, or likes to pretend he has. And knowing that these guys, they don't have a line. I love that. I love that so much.
Not even that they don't have a line. They don't pretend to have a line either.
Yeah.
Like for Wilson Fisk, it is pretense, because at the end of the day, it's like, all right, if you're my man, as long as you don't piss me off. Because if you're supposed to be, listen, think about last season, chief of police. You're supposed to be in my pocket. Oh, you decided that you were going to go against me. Okay, fine. I will kill you in front of all of the people that you thought were loyal to you. So Wilson Fisk, pretends to have a line, but everyone knows where that line is. And that line is, as long as you stay loyal to me, you're good. And these people, it's like, listen, everyone is expendable. The mission is all that matters.
Yeah, so I think for sure you can pretty much, at least I assume, that it was Mr. Charles who gave the boat captain the orders to sink it if anybody comes on board. Because that certainly wasn't a Fisk thing, because he was very upset about the whole thing. And Lillard's ability to just like, you just dispose of the things. Once the job is done, don't want to get caught. Didn't see anybody, sink the boat.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. When the co-captain is telling the captain, like, hey, oh, dude, well, it was the first mate? Yeah, the captain and the first mate. First mate is telling the captain, hey, there are men down there. The captain's like, do you know that? Because I don't, but I know what will happen to me if I don't sink this boat now that Daredevil's on it. So look at that. Just from the top to the bottom, everyone is expendable. The mission is all that matters.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, so the guns are definitely going to be the kind of running thing for a bit now. Luckily, I do believe that gives our hint to our future guest star when he tells Karen, or she says, oh, I know someone, who could find out about those. And he says, yes, better give her a call. And then we don't hear any follow-up to that. It could have been BB, but I believe if we're looking into guns, that's where we're going to get our link to Jessica Jones, who we know is showing up later on this season. So that's just my guess. of the little hint dropped in. But let's talk about Miss Page, who's doing her own undercover work and learn a little combat, getting a little training under her belt, having a whole healthy relationship between the two of them. Oh, isn't that sweet? You know, we never have fun until there's problems, but it's actually nice to finally see them like as a couple and do things. Because you're right, they're always like, I need to quit. Oh, we're breaking up. Oh, you need to be Daredevil, be Karen Page, be in love, have a good time. You guys got any thoughts on Karen? I know she's just kind of doing investigative, not a whole lot, but I think we may lean into she does know how to take care of herself, maybe now in an even better way.
I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried for Karen, because Daredevil's all about suffering. He lost Foggy, so maybe that's all that they'll still take from him this season, or this series.
He is too happy.
They definitely haven't done her as dirty as the comics have done her. In the comics, it is a bad beat for old Karen Page, real bad. So and in Born Again, so just because of that, I feel like she's still not 100% guaranteed to make it through this, in my opinion. Sure. I hope she does. Deborah Ann Woll, I feel like she hasn't aged at all.
She looks amazing.
Honestly, and I mean, I see her all the time because she's I watch a lot of Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and she's an incredible DM out there, and does all kinds of D&D content. And I see her, and I'm just like, man, that girl hasn't changed since True Blood. But no, I'm excited for that. I'm glad that the pretense is gone. There's no more of this. Are they gonna stick together? They're in it. I like the subterfuge that she's in. But again, she doesn't have powers. She's got to be even more secretive. She's got to. I didn't even put it together right away that was her in the black wig when we first saw her. I was like, is that Evangeline Lilly? That's what I thought it was at first, because I just that haircut like from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then it took me till the scene with BB to go, oh my God, that's her. I can't believe I didn't catch that right away. But yeah, I mean, any of the regular people in here, I mean, they keep bringing up Ben Urich, man, and we all know what happened to him. So, everybody's playing some really dangerous games. BB's playing dangerous games. Karen playing dangerous games. Even, Danny, who I could care less about, he's playing a dangerous game. Because again, and Cherry, who's really in it, and how many other people is this going to spill out against? But like, just keeping it towards Karen anyway.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that she's back and playing a bigger role than she did last season. I still think that was a huge mistake, not having her in the show and replacing her with the other one. But they have plans for that other one, so here we go.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely a proper course correction. Don?
I love the fact that Karen Page is back. I like the fact that her character is evolving. she's never necessarily been the damsel in distress, but when you're in a city with superpowered criminals and the only person that you really know to help you out doesn't have powers, even if you're not a damsel in distress, you're still a damsel in distress. So I like the fact that they're giving her a little more, so she'll be able to handle herself on her own. And like, she's one of the few ride or die people for Matt. So I'm always gonna pull for that relationship with them. And I want to see how they're gonna evolve this now. Now that she's back from San Francisco and she's a fugitive along with Daredevil. So obviously, come on, we know that this get past, but hopefully she will.
Well, just because I know it's going to annoy Rob so much, let's touch on Heather real quickly. Because, yeah, definitely not one of my favorite parts from season 1. However, I kind of like what they're doing. They feel at least they've got more of an idea of really what they're doing with her here, as opposed to just playing the kind of side victim that something is going to happen to. Even, to be honest, just the small like camera work of like that little tilt, and then she's seeing Muse in her mind is like, okay, this is a good signal of her slowly like twisting and cracking and starting to break. And again, I think they're efficient. They're not doing a whole lot with her, but I think the little bit that they gave actually interested me more than I think almost all of last season did with Heather. But Don, let's start with you. What did you think with Heather?
I thought it was very interesting. You know, she's obviously all in for Fisk and the whole anti-vigilante task force. You know, and now the fact that she feels as though she's doing the right thing, and now she feels as though she gets to do it unrestricted, and Muse is the thing that is kind of being her muse to a certain extent, because he's the trigger. You know, when she's in there with Swordsman and talking to him and trying to psychoanalyze him, it's not until she sees Muse that she kind of lets her true feelings, or no, not even her true feelings really, but her dark side come out. You know, like when she says, yeah, there are two cops out there who, you know, who want to do anything to you. Like, just, should I let them? I can just call them in here right now and they'll do whatever they feel like to you. Yeah, they'll do whatever they feel like to you. And there's nothing that anyone can do about it or is going to do about it. You know, the fact that she was like, yeah, you're not in an NYPD facility. No one knows where you are. Like that kind of threatening is next level. And forgive me, I guess, you know, someone here happens to like Heather, even Rob doesn't.
Well, no, and yeah, the anti-vigilante task force is definitely terrorizing in both its portrayal and what it feels like to us these days. But yeah, Rob, how did you think about them with Dear Dr. Heather for this? Because yeah, I know it was an easy thing to skip forward last season, and I got to agree with you.
Look, she's not going away. So what are we gonna do with her? And I said last time, she was just this character to move around, to do, you know, to just be, oh, because we need to explain this and we need to do. So let's just use Heather. But after the fact, all of that, everything changes when she shoots Muse. She's a person now who has trauma and she is not dealt with it. She has got extreme feelings. She feels rejection. She was dumped. You know, the person that she was with is a vigilante. You know, she's feeling threatened. She is a hurt person, and she is with the worst person in the world. And she also just kind of, like, not just her, but like how she's been tainted now. But also like the John Benjamin Hickey's character, the lawyer, what's his
D.A.
name?
Hochberg. Yeah.
Who, come on, who isn't feeling like when in that scene where he's at the vending machine, I'm getting Better Call Saul vibes like a mother. Like it really, like the way he was talking to her, and at the end of it being like, "We should get a drink" and everything. Like, and I like it. I like what they're doing with her, despite my initial feelings about her in season 1. I still wish she wasn't here, but she's not. She is. And she's giving me also vibes of people in power right now who shouldn't be. And I don't mean the president of the United States. I'm thinking like Christy Nome level kind of people who just lie and manipulate things and screw your due process and screw the law. I'm going to do whatever I want to you. I can cross, I can write your name under it, or I can write your name, cross your name out. Like I can do all kinds of things to you because I disagree with how you've chosen to live your life. But Tony, and it's Tony Dalton, right? Another person. Okay, we got Lalo in this scene, and she, again, this is another person in control of another person's life, and he knows the law, and he realizes that it doesn't matter what he knows, that he's screwed, and she's sitting there just not blinking, and to feel that kind of loss of power, it's effective. It made me not like her even more, but for the right reasons this time. Like, I still don't agree with why she was in the show in the first place, but I like the direction that they've taken her now, because she's going to have a lot. She's going to be put through the ringer. She's got a long, hard journey, and I don't know where she's going to end up by the end of this. I really don't. But I really liked that they used Muse as this like thing in the background of her like mind, of like when somebody starts to push back and there's that face, like, and she flips it. And yes, the way they tilt, great way, like that is such a cool shot both times that they do it. Although I've never tried to use vodka to get rid of bad thoughts. So
yeah, well, yeah. Well, and we're definitely going to see more of her and her manipulation of data when we get to, I guess, is the vigilante trials, which they hinted at several points throughout this. Looks like we get most of those are being represented by Matt's old firm with Kristen. Because even she brings up that Dalton's lawyer was Murdock, and I can't remember what Kristen's last name is. But
Duffy.
Well, no, yeah, thank you. But normally, if I mean, you can't. That's the interesting thing, is because Dalton is right there. Is normally you would get your own doctor and you would be able to do all of these things. But of course, we have this safe streets law, which again, just is kind of frightening, I think, to us for a lot of reasons. At this particular moment, it feels like it could be something that could be happening at any time. But DA Hochberg makes that mention to Counselor McDuffie. You're right. Do you think evidence matters? Do you think the evidence matters? And I think we are going to see some real kangaroo court stuff going on. If doctors can just change answers and misrepresent people, and evidence is not going to really play it, it's one of those where you can feel that the verdicts are already decided long before the trial starts. And so I'm really curious where that's going to play out, and I'm really curious how that is going to viscerally feel. But you guys have any thoughts on the future trials, or how the system seems to be really, really rigged against all these people that had a cherry for it, that don't have the money to fight back, even if some of them really do have the money, like swordsmen?
Listen, at the end of the day, we live in a society of laws, a society that's just. Okay, and no one is more just than the mayor of New York City. So, these vigilante trials are very, very important to make sure that the city runs stable and that our streets are safe for people who dress up as devils and spiders and men with skulls on their chest that aren't a part of my anti-vigilante task force. And please forgive me, because I have absolutely no idea how Vincent D'Onofrio speaks like this for extended periods of time. It is absolutely ruining my throat now. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't think we're actually going to see any. No, I think we may see like a maximum of like 2 trials before Kingpin gets taken down and the convictions are overturned.
All right. Rob, anything?
A couple of things. Pardon me. Less of, like, well, I didn't know if you had this in your notes, but you brought up the how do I feel about the I was thinking about the BB report and the manufactured ads that they have about how New York is back, right?
Sure.
And,
we're going to touch on that, but jump in. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you were going to already touch on that, then
no. Go ahead. We can follow up when you're done.
I just thought it was interesting. These don't feel like these feel like paid actors. This doesn't. It feels all like when they see this. When they re-show the guy saying, "Oh yeah, Fisk is," and then it says "fuck Fisk" in the back, which again, yeah, I love that they must have said the F word more times in this episode than they did the entire last season. But I just thought that the misinformation, the fakeness of it all, and then to have that be flipped with the Mr. Robot type of F Society video that's made with somebody pretending to be the Kingpin, and making jokes about it. I'm not sure that's not BB2.
I was going to ask if you guys thought that was BB, because that was my feeling as well.
But I like that contrast of the clearly, propaganda that they're putting out, and then the exposure of the propaganda on the other side of it. And it would be interesting if the person making the propaganda is also making the anti-propaganda. It would be that's really cool. I really dug that that scene, even if it was clearly ripping off F Society, man. It was clearly ripping off F Society. But it's hey, what do they call it? What do they say? Imitation is
it's the sincerest form of flattery. Yeah.
Flattery. So if they giving a little nod to Mr. Robot, that's cool to me. But as far as the trials go, this is where I was like, they're missing 2 guys on the boat. We have to find the 2 guys that are missing because we have to get them in front of a jury. We have to get them to trial. How many? It's just like, oh my God, we have done this to death. We have done this every single time. We got to get the guy to the trial. We got to get it. And then they have beat that drum too many times for me. That is because you already know what's going to happen. They're not going to subvert our expectations. They already killed the one dude, and then they're going to get there, and it's going to be so close. We're going to get so close. And maybe there will be some form of subversion here, but I think you're right, Don. It's going to be like we're going to see the trials go south for them. But in the end, that's going to probably bite the lawyers in the ass when it all comes crashing down on them. Because that's the thing I always forget when I'm watching this show. I almost feel like at the beginning, it's like, I wonder how this is going to end. Do you think Daredevil's going to lose? And it's like, clearly it's not how it's going to go. It's that journey. And when you already in the first episode, you feel like everything is hopeless, despite their like, we stuck it to Kingpin. you're gonna really, but the response is always worse. Like the response is always like, you put a ship in the river, I'm gonna put like, it's gonna be something way worse to Matt and the rest of them. So what that response is gonna be, I don't know, but it's gonna be crazy.
Well, remember the thing with Daredevil is he gets knocked down, but he gets up again, and he's never going to mess around. Don, did you have any thoughts on the I don't know, K Society, F Society, the Kingpin video? Do you think BB's behind the subversion too?
So, what I think is going to be the biggest subversion of all? It's going to be his boy.
Oh,
It's going to be Deputy Mayor. Yes, Junior Soprano himself. Okay. I mean, like, because just thinking back on it, I'm like, who has the build? Who has the inside knowledge of what was going on there? He talks about the illegal shipments. Who else would even know about that, right? I mean, and I think at the end of the day, even though, um, even though he's been playing on trying to get with BB Urich, there's still a part of him that's like, man, listen, I know this guy's a crook. I'm just here to to make sure that I don't go down with the ship if I don't have to. If I can sink his boat and I can still skate away, cool. Because I'll get to look like the hero when when I expose all of the evil deeds that he's done. And I'll put him in jail and I'll be mayor.
Ooh, that would be a devious part of it. I wouldn't have thought the sycophant would turn like that, but I like your call, man. Because that would be a twist that I would not be expecting. So nice one. I like that. All right. Well, let's wrap. Let's get to Cherry's bad night. And almost Daredevil's bad night. I was having a bad feeling about Cherry, like from the beginning, just the way that they kind of set things up and talk about the character. And you're right, there's got to be like some tragedy. There's way too much happiness going on. A shame that Cherry is not quite as tough as he thought he was. And him going down almost cost Matt his identity. And the frickin' bullseye save I loved. I mean, it was so efficient. I was wondering, like, what? We're not seeing Frank this season, and the knife bouncing with just the crazy "You're welcome" etched on the side of it. I mean, look, I love this portrayal of Bullseye. I love the character. I love the actor. I love what he brings to it. I love his level of craziness. And I'm like, what is his game? Why would he save Matt? Is he just on some trip? Is he under orders? I don't know. But I wasn't thinking that mask was coming off. I was like, something's got to stop. And then when it does, I was like, what are they going to do now? Bullseye was not what I was expecting. But I loved it. I loved it. Rob, what did you think of our whole bit with Cherry and our little Daredevil salvation?
Well, at first I thought it was Frank that must have done it. Until the thing went through and then it says, and it has the bullseye on there. I think William Bethel as the bullseye is he's very good at being bullseye. I hate him so much. I hate him so much. Bullseye is a character that I love to hate.
Yeah.
I've read so many comics with Bullseye in it. And when he's written competently, he is so scary. And he's never been scarier, I don't think, since maybe the early days, the Frank Miller, John Romita Jr. days of Bullseye, like when he was on Daredevil. And I just think that, one easy answer is he doesn't want anybody else to kill Daredevil but himself. You know, like,
Okay.
I'm following this guy. I'm following him around. I know where he is. If anybody's taking him out, it's not going to be these cops. I'm going to enjoy, taking people out that you love one at a time. Because, again, it's supervillain 101, right? I'm the wronged party. They said it in last season. Who he sees as his, oppressors or, people against him, because he's done nothing wrong. He's a psychopath. He doesn't think like regular people.
Right.
But there could be more here that I don't see. And that's the part that I'm interested in. I hope it's something more than just supervillain 101. Because it comes out of nowhere. And I'm just really excited to see where they're going next. Also, oh man, you know what? I think I'll stop. Okay, never mind. I remember now. The way that he almost gets himself killed and Cherry killed because he remembers what happened in the first episode of last season. I let the rage take over, and I didn't do anything, and my friend died. And now I'm in a similar situation. This guy might die right here. I've got to think about that, and that almost gets them both killed. And it's kind of like saying, like, Matt, you can't save everybody, You can't save everybody, and sometimes you just have to, suck it up. But again, otherwise, then we don't get the amazing, holy crap, this is Matt Murdock, bing, bang, boom, everybody's dead. I like the use of the music in it. I liked that we're seeing these awful, awful policemen. Just who's the main guy that I also love to hate it. This show has a lot of people I love to hate. Who plays the cop? Yeah, Hamish Allen Headley as Powell. Oof.
Okay, yeah.
Man.
Well, his name's Hamish, so I mean,
oh my god,
you gotta have strong feelings there.
But it's a great scene, and I can't. I mean, this is brutal. Like, they really brought us to the edge at the end of this episode. So I want to see where they're gonna go with it. Like, how are they gonna handle this? Like, where is the next episode gonna start?
By the way, my comment is not a dig on people named Hamish. Hamish Linklater is freaking amazing, and
that's
I love
the first
seeing
person
him.
I think of.
And I love him in like everything he shows up on. So
Midnight Mass, man. If you haven't seen Midnight Mass, you got to see it.
Right now. I want to. It's the religiosity I've got to get past. Anyway,
no. Don't worry about that.
Well, I mean, if you're recommending it, Don.
So, I mean, listen, the way that whole thing ended, man. Damn it. He's doing his best to save his friend, and PTSD kicks in and kicks his ass, and then he gets his ass kicked. And yeah, just like how you were saying, like when they took off his mask, I was sitting there like, oh, this is bad. This is too early in the season.
Exactly.
So then the shots sprang off. Yeah, automatically, first thing I'm thinking is the Punisher. Then when that knife comes in, it's like, oh, wait. But remember, Agent Poindexter hates the Fisk more than anybody. He will body either one of them, man or wife. Wilson and Vanessa are not safe. So for him, he's like, yeah, okay, I know that they have a vendetta against you. So this is going to be the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of moment. Because even though you and I have issues, you're the reason why I was able to get out of jail. You're the reason why I'm able to even do this. So I'm going to save you just to remind you of the fact that, yeah, whatever you're going to go through after you and I together bring down Fisk, whatever happens after that truce is over, remember, it's all your fault. Because, yeah, you helped me to get out. So thank you, Daredevil. You're welcome for me saving your life. But don't think this, just because I want to work with you to bring down Wilson Fisk still doesn't mean that we're friends. And that, unfortunately, is the duality of this psychopath known as Bullseye. Because, yeah, Bullseye, he's not an anti-hero. He's not a vigilante. He is just a jerk off who knows how to kill people in the most brutal and efficient ways possible with nearly anything that he can get his hands on. So, yeah, this is a thing where, man, definitely got to see how this next episode starts off. But that was still brutal for Matt to have to go through, because here he is again. He's trying to save a friend who's been putting himself on the line for him for all this time. And now he's having a heart attack, and just in a couple of seconds of him having that flashback to what at this point would have been a few years ago, but still like, oh my God, here I am again. Because think about it. Foggy wasn't the only person he lost. He's lost Elektra. He lost Stick. He lost his dad. Like basically almost everybody he's ever known or gotten close to has been a farmer at some point. So yeah, just like you were saying before about trauma. This is a man with trauma, and this situation in particular, because of something that happened while he was Daredevil, that he feels like, damn, this person is in this situation because of me. And so now it's like, here we are again, and just those couple of seconds could change everything for him.
Yeah, I gotta say, I love. Yeah, go ahead.
You think he already had that knife ready to go? You think he just has one that says you're welcome, and he's like, "Hey, I finally have a reason to use this."
Yeah, he's been following Daredevil around for weeks, just waiting for that. As soon as he saw Daredevil with the black costume, because he's probably been stalking him before that, he's like, "Oh, he's going dark. Okay, he's gonna do something stupid now. he's gonna do something stupid and slip up, and I'm gonna have to save him. So, okay, here we go."
I gotta say, I love that theory. I love the idea of having Bullseye out there as this contagonist, this third party who may be helping or maybe not, or has his own whole agenda. Yeah, see, that's very meaty. I love that idea. So Is Cherry dead? You think he had a full heart attack? Do you think he's going to be in the hospital next we see him?
No, he's done. He's done.
Yeah.
The next episode, unfortunately, will be Matt on the rooftop. It'll be that classic scene of him on the holding on to the cross on top of a church, crying with the rain. That's going to be, yeah.
If I was wrong before, this means he would need a new investigator. Opens the door.
There you go.
Rob, is Cherry dead, or is he in the hospital?
I hope he's alive, just because I really like that actor a lot. So
yeah.
I hope he's still there. I mean, it's very much in spirit of this show that he didn't make it, and it would make it even more like just so tragic because he stopped and and it still just blew up in his face. That's very Daredevil. But I hope you're wrong. I do.
I mean, listen, I would love to be wrong, right? But just how it seems as though they've been playing things with again, the fact that they're trying to show just how crazy this world is that we're currently living in under the mayor, right? And the fact that it was like, this is going to cause Matt to tighten up security even more because he has to, because the fact that the anti-vigilante task force was able to pinpoint that Cherry might have something to do with Daredevil. Like, okay, yeah, you screwed up and you got a friend killed. Now what are you gonna do? So, yeah, unfortunately, I think Cherry has to go. I don't necessarily like it, but I think listen, they talk about women getting fridged. This is the equivalent here.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Well, we will find that out next week. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us in discussion. Thanks for Rena and Devra popping up in the chat there. And thank you to everybody joining us in the archives. Before we head out, you guys have any final thoughts or do you want to tell people what you're doing and where they can find you?
Yeah, I do have one thing to say.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, liking or not liking the premiere. The thing that we did touch on that I like we kind of all skipped past, the opening scene where they basically melded Captain America the Winter Soldier and Daredevil's classic hallway fight. And that was absolutely amazing an amazing way to start the episode. I just wanted to put that out there for anybody who's like, oh, hey, you guys didn't even say anything about the beginning. The beginning was amazing. Okay? It brought me back to, like I said, Captain America Winter Soldier, which is one of the best MCU products, period. And also the hallway fights from seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Daredevil. And I think they found a way to meld those and turn up the violence, but also still keep it coherent and say, okay, you know what? That's part of the reason why I was like, this is, definitely a call back to the originals with the way they opened.
No, excellent call. I'm glad you said something. And yes, Winter Soldier has some of my favorite combat sequences. I love how that's all put together. And you're right, it was a great mashup of those two.
It gave me some vibes it gave me some Batman Begins vibes too. A bit.
The best of the Batman.
But also, as Bill throws in the chat, we watched Wonder Man. I know that's not Daredevil, but we watched Wonder Man. We binge watched Wonder Man.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the best thing I've seen from the MCU for Disney Plus Marvel shows. That might be the best thing I've seen. Best, not my favorite, but it's like it's right there on the edge. It's like I think it's the best origin story that they've done.
Oh,
I love it.
okay.
I highly recommend that show. I almost was like, man, we should be talking about Wonder Man. Like I was like, damn man, we should be talking about Wonder Man. But
well, it did get renewed
if
for
you guys
season
haven't
2.
out there, if nobody's out there seen Wonder Man, yeah, it's already been greenlit for a season 2, which I'm like, okay, that's how good it apparently is for everybody. But this is no slouch either. So if you haven't seen Wonder Man, I highly recommend checking out Wonder Man. But otherwise, you can see me on my channel, Smirking Gun Reviews, where we're playing a shitload of video games and occasionally making content.
All right. And well, we'll find all of us here next week. So we hope to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night. Take care. And as always, watch out for those Nazis. We'll see you next week.